Hey everyone, I'm on the road here. I just got back from my first day of E3, and I just want to tell you about a little about what I saw, what I played on the show floor tonight. Without further ado, let's just begin. The first game I played was Super Mario Odyssey. Now it is packed at E3 this year, and Nintendo's booth isn't very well laid out. I definitely went straight for Super Mario Odyssey, just because I knew it would be such a popular ticket item. I was really hoping to do the same ticketing process they did last year with Zelda. Didn't wasn't that, and actually the layout of the booth is really bad, and it's just a mosh pit in there. But I did get to play. I waited about an hour. The demo is about 10 minutes. I did get to play the demo, and here are just a few of my quick thoughts. First thought, it controls really well. It's smooth. It's everything you want from a Mario game. It's everything you expect from Mario 64. It definitely controls more like Mario 64 and Sunshine and Galaxy than it does 3D World. Sorry, it controls more like 64 than it does Galaxy. And that's really great because it feels good. The way I played was two Joy-Cons separated from the console. And that's the only option we had for playing. The Pro Controller was not an option. I do not know if it's in the game or not, but we didn't have that option there. Controls feel intuitive. The biggest difference is you throw the hat using Y, and the hat is the all-purpose tool. It does a whole bunch of things. It'll collect coins for you. It'll kill enemies. It'll take over things, that kind of thing. Activate triggers, yada yada. And so there are two demos you could play at this event. The first was the red sand level, which I don't know what it's called, but it's the one with the guys wearing the sombreros. It also has some 2D Mario sections. I didn't play that, but the guy in front of me did, and it looked great. And but because the guy in front of me played it, I decided to do the other one, and the other one was New Donk City, which I was excited to play, but I definitely wanted to play the red sand one more just because it looked better. But I didn't want. I also just wanted to get a good grasp of everything, so I went for New Donk City. It looks good. It doesn't look great. New Donk City especially looks a little bit like Spider-Man 2's New York City. The buildings are very square. The roads are very basic. That is to say, it doesn't look bad. It just doesn't look good. I think they went too hard on the New York City aesthetic, whereas I don't think it belongs in this world. I don't think you need that. I think you can take something called New Donk City and jazz it up a little bit. I don't think maybe New York was the best model for it. Maybe something like Vegas or San Francisco, something a little livelier, something a little less old maybe. I don't know. That's not the only problem I have with it. So this game has you collecting moons instead of shines or stars. The moons are pretty plentiful. I don't know if that's just for the demo, but I accidentally ran into several of them, which is a little weird because in prior games you would always have to collect a certain amount of purple coins. You would always have to do all these things. There were green stars that were easier to get, but they still had the stars that were the end of the level, the sort of the epitome of that certain level, and I was just climbing up a spire at one point, which was not easy but not hard either, and there was a moon at the top, and I don't know if that's going to be in the final game, but it was a little weird to encounter that. Throwing the hat feels great. Throwing the hat and like warping into these little electrical things on the ground feels really good too, which is great. I've talked about a little about the positive, but I feel really good about it. But I do want to talk about the problem I have, and that's with New Donk City. Apart from it, it's just not fun to be in. I was running around a lot instead of jumping, instead of doing other platforming type activities. I was running because it's very flat at the bottom, but there's not a lot to get you up to the next level. And I think what is really telling is that in order to get on top of the skyscrapers, instead of, having like a staircase where you have to platform up or a series of swings that you have to do off certain light posts or something like that, You just teleport up using these electrical wires that shoot you up to the top. And it feels like they said, hey, I have a great idea for a world. Let's create a real world full of realish people. And then they said, okay, but we need a platform in it. It's like, oh, we'll figure that out later. It feels like an afterthought. None of the platforming I did was particularly fun in New Donk City. And it's a similar problem to one I have with Mirror's Edge, the first game, the 2000-something one, to the new one that just came out last year, whereas you had the first one with catered levels. It all felt really good. It all felt really tight. And the second game, you have open world, it less catering, just sort of like obstacle courses that you can make your own way through, but it's not necessarily fun to do that. I could see where I could chain things together and make the game fun for myself, but it was a real struggle to do, and I feel like a lot of the platforming, like jumping up on a car, doesn't really lead anywhere. And it's really unfortunate that that happened. I wish I had tried the other demo. I'm going to try the other demo later this week, but I don't know if I'll be able to because it is so ridiculously backed up. We'll see how that all goes because I think the other demo will be better. One last thought about New Donk City. It's just giving me strong Sonic Adventure vibes. When I thought about Station Square from Sonic Adventure 1, I was thinking, it's like, well, you know, Sonic just runs around there. He doesn't really do anything, and I definitely feel that way. And same with Sonic 2006, that first little area. I feel that vibe that this is kind of a hub world, but it's kind of not. You know, you're given missions there. People talk to you using speech bubbles. You can go up and talk to anyone. It feels weird. And I was all kind of for it at the beginning when I saw it in the reveal trailer during the Switch reveal, but now it feels out of place. And I don't know if I want real people or not in my game or anything like that, but I do know that I don't want I want catered levels. I want levels that are going to feel fun to platform and jump through. So we'll see how that all goes. So the other game I want to talk to you about is Detroit Become Human. Now this is a game that has been shown off for about 2 years now, and it had a great trailer last year at Sony's press conference. It had a good trailer this year, but it struck a lot of the same notes. But more importantly, it did not have a release date at the end of the trailer, which I think is very concerning. Now, I would be more concerned, except they did have a playable demo on the show floor this year, and I went to check it out, and it is basically what the trailer was from last year, with Connor and the girl about to fall off with the guy having the gun to her head. It was that demo, or that's what I played. So here, just a quick recap of what happens. You play as an android Connor. You're a negotiator of some kind or / detective trying to alleviate this hostage situation. Your end goal is basically to save this little girl. And so you enter an apartment. Tensions are already high because there's a bunch of guys with guns all ready to shoot this guy, but he has the girl hanging off the edge so they can't. So it's your job to find a new angle, basically. And you can go through the apartment and reconstruct the crime scene. You can do this little cool thing where you rewind and you look at certain points and you find new evidence, that kind of thing. But you keep looking and looking at stuff. Meanwhile, you have this interesting thing where if you press R2, you get this objective marker, and it says your percentage to succeed, which is crazy. But I really like it because it's telling you to think about things in a way an android would. I know that sounds weird, but I like how mathematical it is, and I think this android would think that way, which is kind of crazy. But it does teach you to think about it mathematically, so you're trying to up your score by getting more information. You look at more clues, the percentage goes up slightly, which is cool. If you waste time, as time ticks on, it goes down, which really increases the tension. And I think that's one thing this demo and Heavy Rain in the past has done really well, is make you feel tension like you never felt before in a video game, like you're about to make a decision and you don't want to make mistakes. Eventually, you decide to go outside and start the negotiation. There are objective markers that's say get all evidence, that kind of thing. But when I went outside, they were not complete, which terrified me. But I had about a 60% chance to succeed, so I went with it. The negotiation's very tense as well. Everything you say is sort of crazy, and it's hard to tell that I don't know if the responses were on a timer, if you were timed to say them. I assume you are in some way. But I wasn't paying attention to if they were timed at all. I just decided to go with whatever my gut told me to do. I did, with one exception, I did do one response just to see what would happen. But it all felt pretty good. The voice acting was pretty good. I liked it. It felt real. It felt like a real hostage negotiation. There was no gotcha moment. There was no like, oh, I'm different than most hostage situations. You can't psychoanalyze me. And it's like, no, it's pretty straight. It's pretty interesting. And it makes you feel for people who do this for real life. But eventually, after a series of decisions, you see how they react. The percentage meter, meanwhile, still going backwards and forwards. You can approach two, which is crazy. You can try to get closer to the android and the hostage, and try to maybe do something physical, which is what ended up happening for me. I eventually went for it and tackled the guy, basically pushed him off the edge and grabbed the girl. It called it self-sacrifice, which at the time I really didn't know what that meant. I mean, I guess I should have, but it didn't register in my head. So I didn't really know that I would die in the process, but I did. It's crazy too, because I don't know the rules of this world. Can't androids die? Whatever. I guess we'll learn more about in the future. But yeah, it was really cool. I got a mission successful for saving the girl, which is what I really wanted to do. I don't care that I died. I would have done it. I would have done that in real life. I would have sacrificed myself for that 10-year-old girl. I fully believe that. But yeah, only one problem with it, in that it suffers from the same thing that a lot of games with dialogue options suffer from, whereas I pick a dialogue option, I think it means one thing, it didn't actually mean that, it meant something else. When he's asking me I think he asked me for a car, and there are two options, compromise and refuse. I chose compromise. It's like, yes, we'll give you your car, absolutely, we'll give you whatever you want, just come down. And the first thing he says when I choose compromise is like, that's not going to happen for you. It's just like, what? So that was the only thing. In general, I think Detroit's going to be really cool. It is very concerning that this demo is from last year. This is basically last year's trailer, and the game has no release date still. That is still concerning. What else I want to bring up is that when we saw this in the trailer last year, I thought it was a lot longer than what ended up being a 10-minute demo for me. Basically, you enter the apartment and stuff has already gone down. It's already, you're already late. And from the moment you enter the apartment to the moment you either save the girl or whatever, it's just 10 minutes. From the trailer, it looked like a multi-stage thing. It looks like you investigate a crime scene, then you discover someone's missing and they need to be found. You follow their trail, and then you find them on this skyscraper, that kind of thing. It felt like a multi-stage thing, which this was not. This was a very tailored but small chunk of gameplay, which has me concerned that the game isn't either very long or does not have that much depth. I can understand that I want to do this. I want to go through all these options and see which options the girl killed, which options can I survive and the girl survives. Maybe there's even an option where the deviant survives. I don't know. But that all intrigues me. But it also, I'm worried that there's not a lot of content here. And maybe that's why it doesn't have a release date, is because they need to develop more. Anyway, I'm not sure, but those are my thoughts about Detroit Become Human. I think it's really cool. I think it'll be a great game. I have no idea when it's coming out. The last game I want to talk about today is Dino Frontier for PlayStation VR. I think this game was in last year's press conference. Looked cool. But let me explain what it is. It is because I don't have footage of it. It is an RTS style game. You're a god. You have this land in front of you. It's just like right here. You can go up, and then the controls are you have the move controllers, and you can pinch in and zoom. You can drag the land, and it comes closer or farther to you. And then what you do is you build a town. It's cowboys and dinosaurs for whatever reason, but you build things. But you don't build them. You plop them down, and then you grab a mallet from the virtual space, and you hit it a few times to make it sprout. You have little settlers that you can send off to gather wood, to gather food, that kind of thing. You build a town. You hunt dinosaurs. You domesticate dinosaurs. You capture them, and then you can ride them. I think the aim is to eventually get more and more dinosaurs and then explore the surrounding areas. The end of the demo was bandits come in, and then it fades to black, and then they're all like shooting you as it says, "Thank you for playing." I thought it was really cool. I have not played anything in VR quite like it. And I enjoy that it looks good. The style graphics make everything look great. The controls are incredibly intuitive. It's, iPad, iPhone, whatever, swipe controls. So pinch to zoom, drag to select, or drag to move. You have two hands, and you can look at your watch, which has your objectives on them. I forget what the other one had on it. And in the sky are your build menus, so you just pop it down and open it, that kind of thing, select something. It feels really good, and it is one of those VR titles that I'm just excited to play. I hope it's not too overpriced because it doesn't feel like a meaty game at all. But it's one of those experimental things that I think will be really fun to play. I don't really have anything more to say about it. The demo I played was fun. It was a bit blurry, which is, I hope, a problem with the headset that I was wearing and not a problem with the actual game, because it was really hard to read the objectives. I could have just been also very tired. That'll do it for E3 Day 1. That's only 3 games, but I saw more than that, but that's all I really want to talk about. I did a lot of planning for my days to come. I'm going to hit Ubisoft hard tomorrow. I'm going to hit Microsoft and other camps harder tomorrow because I have a more lay of the land. Also, it's like ridiculously busy, so it's going to require some more planning on my end. Hopefully there's not too much shadow on my eyes. Hopefully, if you like this, hopefully it was informative for you. Thank you.